All right, today we're gonna be tying Bennett's lunch money. Hook and device is a Gamakatsu B10s in a size 4. Thread is a Semperfli olive 6/0, which I am just about out of. We're gonna have to swap spools at some point during this video. Now these are medium dumbbell eyes. A lot of guys on this size fly would probably tie in the small. I use the small on some of them for this size, but for the most part, most of the places I'm fishing, I just like the little bit more aggressive jigging action I get with that medium size. Those small ones just don't quite give me the action I'm looking for. Now I'm going to whip finish right here before I glue these eyes, because we're about to tie in the zonker strip. And when it comes to tying in zonker, I like to use mono or GSP. It doesn't really matter, but I really like to crank on them, especially on this fly. They have a tendency to, this tying point will roll around on you if you don't really get it secured down well. And this mono just allows me to really crank on it. And the rest of this fly, we're going to be pretty much tying inverted like this. For the zonker, for the tail, I like to go with somewhere between 1 1/4 shank lengths sticking off the back here, and then poke that hook right through the hide. Take it out of the vise for a second. Run that the rest of the way through. Get it back in. Now, I like to keep a little jar of water on my desk for separating these. And for wetting down marabou and other kinds of stuff like that. It's just something that comes in pretty handy when you're working with wispy natural materials. Okay, so after I've got that separated there and I'm down to the hide, I'm gonna come over once kind of loosely with this mono. Come over again. I'm gonna pinch that in place and really crank on it. Do that again. 2 wraps and really pull down tight. Now I'm going to wrap forward here. Hang that off eyes. And I'm gonna put a little dab of super glue on the base of that just for good measure. Just a tiny little drop of zap. Because I really don't like these moving around on me. All right, now you're gonna palmer this zonker up towards the front. Make sure you're not trapping down any of these fibers. I like to palmer it with a medium amount of tension there. Get my fingers wet. Separate these fibers again, so I'm not trapping a bunch of it down. Come through that with my thread. Come through one more time. And again, with this mono, I like to really crank down on it. Do a couple wraps in front. Get this out of the way and trim that zonker as close as I can get it. Now I like to come over here and secure down that little corner. I don't know what I was reaching for down there. Okay. And now I'm going to go back to my Semperfli because I'm done reefing on that zonker. I'm going to reposition this hook in the vise a little bit because I don't like where it's sitting. There we go. Now seems like a good time to go ahead and swap over to a new spool of this olive. You see, if you guys would watch these videos some more and share them and follow, I'd be able to put some cool music to these videos. You wouldn't have to listen to me sit here and talk. So you got that to look forward to if you'll just like and share and follow. I love these right bobbins, but the ceramic Magnum, this ceramic insert stops somewhere down here, and it's an absolute nightmare to get thread through here. There we go. Got it. Okay. Get this thread started. Keep all this zonker out of my way. Now, this time for, that's a way bigger clump than I need. Senyo's Laser Dub. This one I'm going to do in olive and yellow. You're going to pull it out of the pack. Probably a little bit more than I need. You don't want to go too dense on this. It'll surprise you how little you need. If you go too dense, when you first throw it in, it's going to want to float. And you're just going to completely counteract everything you did with putting these medium dumbbell eyes on. So to get that nice action out of it, go sparse. This stuff is good at holding volume. So just pinch it, pull it apart, align those fibers. And I'm going to come in here, tie this in about 50-50. And same thing on the bottom. I'm going to use yellow. Now, for whatever reason, this yellow is significantly longer than the olive. So after I get all this lined up, I am going to wind up trimming a little bit of length off this yellow because it's just too long for this size of fly. I'm just trying to trim this stack, but it's about the same length my olive was. I'm going to pull it apart a few more times so I don't have that really clean cut into it. I'm going to tie this in the same way. fold it over my thread about 50-50. Turn it over, make sure I like where it's at. I do. Pull this back and do a couple wraps in front of that. Now, rubber legs. I'm just going to use barred Sili legs in olive. And I'm going to use one per side and double it over. Okay, now something I like to do on this, because it's kind of a little baby bluegill pattern, I like to put some little blue gill covers in there. And for this, I'm going to use just a little bit of Ice Dub in UV brown. It says UV brown, but it's a pretty purplish color, so I think this is the best dubbing I've found for this little patch of blue that doesn't matter. To rip off Ellis Ward, we're getting into doesn't matter territory. I gave you credit for that, Ellis. What's the saying? You have to give credit for it twice and then it's yours. One more time, and then it's mine. And I'm just doing this the same way I did that laser dub, trying to align the fibers a little bit. They're not going to align like they will the laser dub. This is a much kinkier dubbing. And then I'm tying it in the same way, just folding it over and pulling that thread in like that. And I'm going to come back and trim it up just a little bit. Make sure it's not sticking out way past my laser dub. And you can come in and do some more of that at the end if you need to. Now, the head of this, we're just going to pull out another clump of laser dub. You're going to go even thinner this time because we're going to tear it in half. So you want to use about half the density that you did on that first stack. Get everything aligned. And then grab it right in the middle, just pinch it and tear it. There we go. And do the same thing. Pull these fibers apart and align them a few more times just to get your ends a little bit tapered there. Tie it in the same way. Pretty much 50-50. And now same thing with the yellow. And again, I'm gonna go kind of thin. If this little clump I'm trying to get rid of will leave me alone. Just align these fibers same way we have been doing. Again, I'm gonna cut this a little bit shorter because this yellow is way too long. You'll find with a lot of these synthetic dubbings that not every color is the same. A lot of these laser dubs, the different colors are different lengths, and then with ice dub, you'll find that some of them are different lengths or different varying degrees of straightness to them. Some of them dub easier than others. All right. Now, take this, tie it in again, the same way we've tied in every clump of laser dub on this fly. Pull it all back. Get a couple wraps here in front, being careful not to trap anything down. Get a half hitch in there, and then a couple whip finishes. One more. Finish it off with a little UV resin. Okay. Now I like to pull this thing out of the vise. Take my dubbing brush and just brush this thing out. Kind of help smooth everything back. And pull out all these loose fibers, because you'll just get some fibers with laser dub that don't secure in. And something I like to do here is put a little bit of barring on it on the top. Just with a black Sharpie here. You want to really push in and make sure you're not just getting the fibers on the top. And this is another one of those things. Does it matter to the fish? Probably not. But makes me a little bit more excited about the fly when I pull it out of my box. I probably fish it a little bit better. And I got nothing better to do, so here we are sharpieing our flies. Looks like this Sharpie's about to run out on me too. Everything is just running out today. Okay, we'll call it good with that one. And I like to take some red. You can see what I mean here with that. yellow just being a lot longer than that olive. And if that bothers you, if you still didn't get it quite short enough, you can come in here and tear it a little bit. You can trim it too, but that does give you, trimming it with scissors gives you a little bit different look to it. Just doesn't look quite as flowy in my opinion. But I'm gonna take some red just because my bluegill around here kind of tend to have that nice orange belly to them. I'm gonna thinly run this back through here, just kind of tinting all this yellow and adding some little bit of depth and complexity to that color. And again, you kind of want to push this Sharpie down into those fibers, making sure you're not just getting the ones on the surface. All right, I think that looks good. We'll brush it out one more time. And there you have it. Bennett's Lunch Money, size 4. This is a great fly for bass and trout. One of my go-to streamer patterns around here for small stuff.